All right, listen up. This is a Code Ninja security advisory, and it's urgent. We are tracking a critical threat that is being actively exploited in the wild right now, so you need to pay very close attention. The vulnerability is CVE-2024-28988.
Let's put a number on this. The CVSS 3.1 base score, it's a 9.8. To be crystal clear, that is critical. We're talking worst-case scenario for any system that's exposed. It gives an attacker unauthenticated remote code execution. No password, no access needed, they're just in.
And look, this isn't some academic exercise. This isn't a what-if. Threat actors are actively weaponizing this exploit as we speak. We have confirmed intrusions. Your perimeter could already be breached. This is absolutely a live-fire event.
Okay, let's get into the advisory itself. This is the 0-day. We're talking about an unauthenticated RCE in SolarWinds Web Help Desk. The target here is pretty clear. The vulnerability lets a remote attacker, with no credentials whatsoever, take complete control of the machine it's running on. The whole point of this disclosure is to force a fix and give you the actionable intel you need right now.
So, how does this work? Technically, the root cause is CVE-502, which is a classic deserialization of untrusted data. Basically, there's a component called AjaxProxy that's supposed to handle data, but it doesn't check it properly. It's like a bouncer at a club who just lets anyone in without checking their ID. An attacker can just hand it a malicious package, and the server will unpack it and run whatever code is inside, all with the system's own privileges. Again, no login, no credentials needed. It's a wide open door. Now, what makes this even more concerning is the history. Take a look at this. This isn't a new problem. This is the third attempt to fix the same core issue. This new CVE 26399 is a direct bypass of the two previous patches. What does that tell you? It tells us the fundamental weakness never really went away, and the attackers have been persistent, way more persistent than the fixes.
And this whole thing escalated fast. The initial disclosure was back in September 2025. By January of 26, we were already seeing it used in the wild. And not just basic attacks, we're talking advanced persistence. Then in February, you get public warnings from major players like Microsoft and Huntress. And by March, it lands on CISA's KEV catalog. That's the big one, the must-patch now list for federal agencies. That's how fast this went from a bug to a full-blown crisis.
Okay, before we get into the attacker's playbook, we need to do a quick comms check. It's absolutely critical that you have a link established to get real-time intel. Acknowledging this intelligence is part of our collective defense.
So here's the communication protocol. Step 1. Subscribe. You need real-time intel, and this is how you get it. Step 2. Hit like. That serves as your acknowledgement, your ACK, that you've received this transmission. And Step 3. Comment with your patch status. Are you patched or vulnerable? This helps all of us map the blast radius and understand the community's exposure.
All right, comms link established. Let's get to the intel brief. We're going to dig into the adversary's tradecraft and then cover the mitigation protocol you need to execute immediately.
So let's define the blast radius here. The impact, as we've said, is unauthenticated remote code execution. Full control. Who's at risk? Simple. If you are running any version of SolarWinds Web Help Desk up to version 12.8.7, you are vulnerable. You have to assume you are a target.
So here's what the initial attack chain looks like, step by step. First, the attacker hijacks the WHD service wrapper. That's the java.exe process. From there, they spawn a command prompt, cmd.exe. What for? To run msexec and silently install a malicious MSI payload. And they're pulling this payload from a simple file hosting service. The weapon of choice here is often a legitimate tool, Zoho's remote management software, just configured to give them a permanent backdoor.
Okay, and this is where their tradecraft gets really slick and dangerous. They're turning our own defensive tools into offensive weapons. Think about this. They're using Velociraptor, a tool we use for digital forensics and incident response, as their C2 framework. And for managing their victims, they're using Elastic Cloud, the same tech that powers tons of SIEMs. They're literally using our own shield as a sword.
Huntress Labs really hit the nail on the head with this one. They said, the threat actor essentially built themselves a SIEM to triage their victims, and that is exactly what's happening. They run a PowerShell script on the box which vacuums up all the system info, packages it nicely, and sends it straight to their own private Elastic instance. They can then just log into a Kibana dashboard and manage their whole fleet of compromised machines like an analyst would.
And it gets even more advanced. We've seen them go after defense evasion by modifying the registry to kill Windows Defender. They set up redundant access using Cloudflare tunnels, so if one path dies, they have another. They've even got a dynamic C2 failover that's triggered by an HTTP 406 error code, super clever. And for persistence, to make sure they can always get back in, they're planting a QEMU-based SSH backdoor using a scheduled task disguised as TPM profiler.
Okay, this is the most critical part of the brief, your immediate mitigation protocol. Here's what you do, right now. 1. Patch. Update to version 2026.1 or apply hotfix 1 for 12.8.7. Do it now. 2. Restrict access. This thing should not be on the public internet. Put it behind a VPN or a firewall, period. 3. Rotate credentials. Assume every service and admin account password is compromised. Reset them all. And 4. Hunt. Start hunting for the indicators of compromise I'm about to give you.
Here are your key IOCs. These are the footprints of an intrusion. You need to be hunting for the Zoho Assist process, toolzq.exe. Look for Velociraptor.exe running as a service. Check your scheduled tasks for anything called TPM Profiler that's running QEMU system x8664.exe. Scan your network logs for connections to this C2 domain, and check for this specific file path, C:program data, Microsoft, code.exe. That's a known staging directory for their tools.
So, that brings us to our final point, the mission, the code. You might be wondering why we're so public with this level of detail. It's because we practice coordinated vulnerability disclosure.
Our core principle is simple. You have a right to know when you are at risk, full stop. This kind of disclosure forces fixes and holds vendors accountable. But more importantly, it arms you, the defender. It gives you the intelligence you need to go out there, find evil on your network, and secure your perimeter. We do this to give you a fighting chance.
So, I'll leave you with this to think about. Attackers are now repurposing our own defensive tools against us. This is a huge shift. If they're using our own tools, living off our own land, how do our threat hunting strategies need to evolve? How do we find the wolf when it's literally wearing wolf's clothing?
Stay secure.